Now, the first thing that I did to make this apron top is I cut the pieces. I didn't make a pattern, so I'm just going to give you some measurements here. And this is the bodice piece. I've cut 2 pieces of it on the fold, and they are approximately, they're about 34 inches, which, you know, this is going to be based on your size, or whoever the size you're making it for. I made them 8 inches wide. You can make this more narrow if, you know, you don't want the boobs in the bodice. You just want the bodice to connect the bottom. It just all depends on the style you want to make. So I've got 2 pieces for the bodice. This piece, which is going to be what I'm going to make the loops out of, is about 33 inches on the fold. Then I have the strap pieces, which are also cut on the fold, and they're about, I think it was about 40 inches. Those are about 2.5 inches wide and about 40 inches long. And then I've got the bottom piece of the apron top, and this is also cut on the fold, and it is about 44 inches wide and about 20 inches long. And that, again, it's all based on how long you want it, and, you know, how long you want it to be, how much gather you want to be in the bottom piece, the apron piece. It just depends, you know, that is how you would base what you're gonna, how wide you're gonna cut it. Anyway, the first thing I want to do is sew the straps and sew the loop pieces. And what I'm going to do, since this is going to be kind of narrow, when I'm going to fold it over and sew it, and turning it's just going to be a real bitch. So what I'm going to do is sew a piece of twine into it. Now, the way I'm going to do that is not the twine, and I'm going to sew it into the end. I'll show you that over at the sewing machine, though. This is my piece for my the shoulder straps for this top. So what I've done is I've taken this twine and put a knot in it, and I've left about a 3-inch tail, and I'm going to put this with the knot sticking out and fold it over evenly. And I want this to stay inside of the loop, so don't sew over your string, your twine or whatever. I recommend using twine because it's really strong for something like this. What you're going to do is close the end, stitch right over that twine, and kind of back stitch a couple of times so that you're sure that it's in there. See, I've got a little bit of a tail hanging out of this thing now. Hopefully I can show you this without it being a complete disaster. This is a really good way to turn a strap on a purse or a top like this, because it's really long and it's going to take forever trying to do it with a wooden dowel. Who knows, it might take forever this way. But what you start doing is you start pulling the string that you got on the open end. You just want to pull till you get down to that end, and then start, it's wanting to get away from me. Then you start working it through by working these folds over. Okay, I've sewn together the straps, turned them and pressed them for the shoulder straps. Now this is the piece that I'm going to use to cut the loops that I'm going to put in the back to run the straps through. But I wanted to show you how I'm going to do that. And this just folded over on one side and sewn together. And what I'm going to do is press that seam in the middle. So I'm going to use my little handy dandy doohickey here. Doohickey, that is a technical term for me. And I want to cut these, let's see, if I want it to be, the loop to be about that big and then have a seam allowance, I would need to cut about 4.5 inches for each loop. Hopefully I have enough fabric here. I didn't really do any measuring with that. I take these and lay them aside along with the straps. The next part is the fun part because I get to use my gathering foot. Hopefully I use it right. Okay, y'all, I know when I've been defeated and I cannot do the gather with the fabric, the straight fabric and the gathered part together. I'm going to have to gather this and then add it to the piece. So that is what I'm going to do right now. The next thing I'm going to do is sew along the sides of the bottom of the top. Yeah, does that make sense? The skirt piece of the apron top. Maybe we should put it that way. It's not really a skirt. It's, I told you, words are just getting away from me today. So I'm going to turn this about 1/2 inch over. And I'm going to do the same thing along the other side. Okay, now what I need to do is place the strap. And I've already got the midpoint because there's a crease right here, and I can iron that out later, but it comes in handy for right now. I want these straps to be, I'm going to say about 8 inches apart. I could have marked it on the front. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know what it is today, y'all. I'm feeling better, but I feel like I'm off my game today. Okay, so I'm going to take the straps, and since these are, the seam is on the side, I want the seam to be on the outside of the strap. I'm going to place it. And pin it. I used to make these all the time for Daisy, and I would make little bloomer pants to go with them, but they're older teen girls can wear these too, and ladies, if you have the figure for it. I obviously don't. I just enjoy making things like this. So anyway, the next thing I'm going to do is just tack these on. Okay, I've tacked these on this first piece. Now I want to, I think I probably should leave the pins in here because this wants to slide. Wants to move around because these straps are so long. And usually when I used to make these for Daisy when she was little, I would do like a patchwork kind of a bottom for the halter top. But since I want this video to be for beginners, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Hopefully that's what's happening. But so you just want to line these pieces up all the way down where the straps are. Not here. This we're leaving open. I'm going to sew all the way across. I'm not sewing the sides. I'm just sewing across here. Okay. So I've sewn this, and this is actually the top part of the halter top. Now what I want to do is I'm going to turn this out. And this is going to be the back part. I know that because of the way these straps are facing. One of them's a little off, so I want to make sure that's going to be the back. So I'm just going to put a chalk X on it in case I forget, which I could, it's possible. This is going to be the front. What I'm going to do now is attach the bottom of the halter top to the bodice of the halter top. Hopefully I have gathered it in such a way that it works. I'm going to pin it on there, leaving. It gets tricky working with this in my little tiny room here. Okay, I'm going to start by pinning and leave about, I guess that's about a little more than 1/2 inch. You can see that there. So that this is going to be, you know, we're going to close this up and we're going to have to put the loops on it, so we want to leave plenty of room there. Okay, so hopefully you can tell what I've done here. I've attached the bottom piece to the top piece and turn it over. You see it looks like that. So now what I need to do, I need to put on the loops. I need to close this up. And you can. Okay, my next step is to sew on the loops and close everything up. What we need to do is place the loops, and I'm going to fold them over with the seam that was showing it's going to be inside, so you don't see it. And since I've already sewn that, I'm going to put that right up against the edge of the top. Now I'm placing pins just beside each loop, or in between each loop. And I'm going to sew right along here, and I'm going to match them up and do the same thing on the other side, and then I'll come back and show you that. The top, before I turn the bodice, I've sewn the loops on each side. I think I need to go ahead and clip these corners too so they come out neat. So you see we have our loops on both sides. Now we want to straighten it out and make sure everything's lined up, and I'm going to press it. But I'm going to fold this under first. I have this piece that's from the front. Well, I guess I need to zoom you guys in so you can see. This is kind of a tricky part right here. So, got this piece right here, And I think I am going to go along the front and sew this so that I don't have to hand stitch this. But you can hand stitch it. I'm just not very good at it. I seem to do better with the machine. Okay, so I went along here and sewed a kind of a decorative stitch, and it also attached closed up that back bodice part. Now what I need to do is just press the parts here, the top part, the bodice, and then I'll go put it on my mannequin and we'll see how it turned out. So there's our finished apron top. I think like I said, it's been a lot of years since I made one of these, but I think that the bodice is too wide, you know, wide like this, and the skirt is definitely really long, so it's looks more like a dress from the front. You can see that's how it looks from the back, and it could do with just 2 straps. It doesn't need 3. The bodice needs to be a little bit shorter, I think. It just depends on the sizing and how you want to make it. This is kind of a personal project. If you're making it for yourself, you make it to your liking. That's it. That's my little project for today. So that's it. I hope y'all enjoyed. Peace, y'all. Bye-bye.